Morning, Internet. Welcome to another video from the International Bigshot here at our International Bigshot Studios. Today I'm going to talk about audiobooks. A year ago, I noticed that YouTube suggested a couple of audiobooks instead of just the usual videos. From the list that YouTube would put up on the screen, suggested for me or suggested for you, whatever they call it, one of them was an audiobook. So I clicked on it and I sort of got hooked on listening to audiobooks. And as I read through the little notes underneath some of these videos, a lot of people use these to fall asleep. It's like, I guess, people reading a story at bedtime or something like that. I don't really find them to be useful for that, because a lot of the times if you're listening to a book that you've never read before or never listened to before, then you really have to pay attention, because listening to a book, especially a novel, is difficult if you're not paying attention, because you lose track of what's going on, who the characters are, what the names are, etc., etc. One of the good things about actually reading a book is that if you come across a name that you know you've heard before, but you're not quite sure where they are in the list of the characters, you can always go back and look. In an audiobook, it's not always easy to do that because you don't know where to go back and look to. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you start listening to audiobooks, depending on the kind of books you listen to, you really have to pay attention. So using them to fall asleep really doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I think it was about a month ago, I was looking through the audiobooks and I found a book that I did not even know was a book. It was Double Indemnity. Now, the reason I say I didn't know it was a book, because I know it's a movie. In fact, it stars Fred MacMurray, Barbara Stanwyck, and Edward G. Robinson. And it's a movie about how Fred MacMurray and Barbara Stanwyck engineer this massive insurance fraud. Here's my favorite scene from that movie.
Come now, you've never read an actuarial table in your life, have you? Why, we've got 10 volumes on suicide alone. Suicide by race, by color, by occupation, by sex, by seasons of the year, by time of day. Suicide, how committed? By poisons, by firearms, by drowning, by leaks. Suicide by poison, subdivided by types of poison, such as corrosive, irritant, systemic, gaseous, narcotic, alkaloid, protein, and so forth. Suicide by leaps, subdivided by leaps from high places, under the wheels of trains, under the wheels of trucks, under the feet of horses, from steamboats. But Mr. Norton, of all the cases on record, there's not one single case of suicide by leap from the rear end of a moving train. And you know how fast that train was going at the point where the body was found? 15 miles an hour. Now, how can anybody jump off a slow-moving train like that with any kind of expectation that he would kill himself? No, no soap, Mr. Norton. We're sunk, and we'll have to pay through the nose, and you know it. May I have this?
This book is available on YouTube, and it's 3 hours long. I thought at first it was an abridged version, but pretty much everything that's in the movie is in the book. There's some other little plot points that are in there also. Anyway, if you like film noir, or if you like Double Indemnity, the movie, the old version, I think it was from 1944, look for the audiobook on YouTube. It's a great book to listen to. The narrator is wonderful. I don't know his name. I looked through the notes and I can't find the name of the narrator, but he does a great job. There is a difference, a big difference in how the book ends compared to how the movie ends, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's just as satisfying, but it is a difference. The other book I found was by the same guy that wrote Double Indemnity, James N. Cain. He also wrote The Postman Always Rings Twice. So that's also an audiobook. Now, I know that's a movie along the same lines as Double Indemnity, but I've never seen that one. So I don't really know what the movie is about, or whether it follows the same storyline as the book. I assume that it does. The audiobook is good. So if you have a chance, you can listen to both of those audiobooks by James N. Cain, C-A-I-N, if you want to look through that on YouTube. I like to read Dostoevsky, but I've only read 2 of his books. I've never read Brothers Karamazov, so I tried to listen to it. And that's a book that you really have to pay attention to while you're doing it. Dostoevsky or any of the Russian authors have, hundreds of characters, and if you can't keep track of who the characters are, then you sort of lose track of what the story is. So when you listen to an audiobook like that, you really have to pay attention to what is going on there. You can't just put it on in the background and listen to it. It's not like music in that sense. All right, let's see. What else did I listen to? Yes, The Great Gatsby. This is also available on YouTube, the unabridged version. That's all there. And there's probably a few versions. The one I listened to is with this cover here. It's a blue cover. I don't know what the differences are between the books. I only listened to this one, but it's a wonderful narration. The reader is also excellent. And if you know the story, you know, it's a familiar story. You can listen to this. It's a very comfortable thing to listen to. I think that'll do it for this video. I don't want to make these too long, so I'm just going to cut it off here and say thank you for watching. Subscribe. I'll see myself out.